11 days after my daughter handed me a tablet for my birthday, the police stormed our house. They didn't come for me. They came for her. And when I saw her taken away, my hand shook, and the tablet she gave me started blinking. Something inside it, something she built, had just put all of us in danger. I had no idea what she'd done, or who was already watching. On my birthday, my daughter gave me a tablet. 11 days later, the police took her away. Welcome back, my beautiful family and friends. If you're hooked in and you're ready to enjoy this story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Because tomorrow, I will be giving you another story just as interesting as this one. And you don't want to miss it. The police didn't knock. They pounded. The sound split the morning in half. 3 heavy blows against the front door that rattled the picture frames and sent a cold ripple through Miriam Hale's chest. Her coffee slipped from her fingers and shattered on the kitchen tile. Dark liquid bleeding outward like a warning she didn't yet understand. "Police!" a voice barked. "Open the door." Miriam stood frozen, one hand pressed to the counter, the other trembling at her side. Her heart was already racing, not because she'd done anything wrong, but because fear has a way of arriving early, long before reason can catch up. From the hallway came the soft shuffle of socks. "Mom!" Lily's voice. Small, sleepy, confused. Miriam turned too fast. "Stay in your room," she said, sharper than she meant to. Lily stopped mid-step, clutching the sleeve of her oversized hoodie, brown eyes searching her mother's face for an explanation that wasn't there. The pounding came again. Louder this time. Miriam forced herself forward and pulled the door open. 2 uniformed officers stood on the porch. Behind them, a black SUV idled at the curb, engine humming low and steady. Patient, like it already knew how this would end. "Mrs. Miriam Hale?" The taller officer asked. "Yes," she said, her voice barely hers. "We're here regarding your daughter, Lily Hale." The world tilted. Miriam laughed once, breathless, disbelieving. "My daughter. She's 14. There must be a mistake." The shorter officer glanced past Miriam, eyes locking onto Lily, who had crept closer despite the warning. His gaze softened, for half a second. Then it hardened again. "Lily Hale," he said, "you need to come with us." "No," Miriam said immediately, stepping in front of her daughter. "No, you don't understand. She hasn't done anything. She's a good kid. Mom," Lily whispered. Miriam felt it then, that subtle, horrifying shift when a moment crosses a line and becomes something you'll remember forever. "Please," Miriam said. "Just tell me what this is about." The taller officer exhaled slowly, like a man who had already had this conversation too many times. "We have a warrant," he said, "related to an ongoing investigation." "An investigation into what?" Miriam demanded. The officer hesitated. Then he said it. "Digital fraud. Identity theft. Unauthorized access to protected systems." The words were sharp and foreign, like a language Miriam had never learned. She shook her head. "That's impossible. She barely remembers her own passwords." Lily didn't speak. She was staring at the floor now, jaw tight, shoulders drawn inward, not confused, not surprised. Miriam turned slowly. "Lily." Her daughter's hands were shaking. "Sweetheart," Miriam said, lowering her voice, reaching out. "What's going on?" Lily swallowed. "I didn't mean for this to happen." The sentence hit harder than any accusation. 11 days earlier, it had been Miriam's birthday. She remembered it clearly. Not because it had been extravagant, but because it had been quietly perfect. A homemade dinner. A chocolate cake slightly overbaked. And Lily standing awkwardly in the living room, holding out a thin, rectangular box with both hands like it weighed more than it should. "It's not new," Lily had said quickly. "I mean, it works. I checked." Inside the box had been a tablet. Sleek. Expensive looking. Far beyond anything Miriam could have afforded on her salary as a school administrative assistant. "You didn't steal this, did you?" Miriam had joked. Lily's smile had flickered, just for a second. "No," she'd said. "I promise." Miriam had believed her. She always did. Now, standing between two police officers and a daughter she suddenly realized she might not fully know, Miriam felt something crack open inside her chest, an awful, creeping realization that this moment had started long before the knock on the door. "Mom," Lily said quietly. "I'm sorry." "For what?" Miriam asked, tears blurring her vision. "For what, Lily?" The taller officer cleared his throat. "We'll explain everything at the station." "No," Miriam said. "You explain it now." The officer met her gaze. "That tablet your daughter gave you," he said. "Do you still have it?" Miriam's breath caught. "Yes," she said slowly. "Why?" The officer nodded once, grim. "Because it's the reason we're here." Lily finally looked up then. Her eyes met her mother's, and in them was something Miriam had never seen before. Fear. Not of punishment, but of what had already been set in motion. As the officer stepped forward and gently took Lily by the arm, Miriam's world collapsed into a single unbearable question, one that would haunt her long after the door closed behind them. What had her daughter really put inside that tablet? And why had it taken 11 days for the police to come? Before we go any further, if you were in Miriam's place, would you have believed your child too? Or would doubt have already crept in? Share what you'd feel in that moment below. The house felt wrong without Lily. Not quiet, hollow. Miriam stood in the doorway long after the black SUV disappeared down the street, the echo of its engine still buzzing in her ears like a cruel afterimage. The officers had been polite, gentle even. That somehow made it worse. There was no shouting to cling to, no chaos to reject. Just procedure. Just certainty. Just her daughter being taken away. She closed the door slowly, as if speed might make the moment permanent. The living room looked exactly as it had an hour earlier. Lily's backpack slumped against the couch. A sock abandoned near the coffee table. The birthday card Miriam hadn't thrown away yet sat crooked on the shelf, Lily's handwriting looping and uneven on the front. To the best mom in the world. Miriam sank onto the couch and pressed the heels of her hands into her eyes until sparks flared behind her lids. This couldn't be real. She had spent 14 years protecting Lily from the sharp edges of the world. From her father's absence. From the quiet judgments of teachers who mistook shyness for weakness. From the neighborhood boys who laughed when Lily preferred coding clubs over cheerleading tryouts. Lily was gentle, brilliant, careful, not a criminal. Miriam's phone buzzed in her pocket. She startled, heart leaping, hope surging so fast it hurt, until she saw the caller ID. Unknown number. She let it ring. Her gaze drifted to the hallway. To her bedroom. To the nightstand drawer where the tablet lay. The tablet. Her birthday gift. Miriam hadn't thought much of it at first. Lily had always been tech-savvy. Far more than Miriam ever was. She'd assumed it was refurbished, maybe bought cheap online with babysitting money saved over time. She stood slowly, legs unsteady, and walked to the bedroom. The drawer slid open with a soft scrape. The tablet lay there, smooth and black, screen dark and innocent looking. Miriam picked it up, half expecting it to burn her fingers. "This is ridiculous," she muttered. "You're a tablet. You don't ruin families." Still, her thumb hovered over the power button. She hesitated. Miriam had learned long ago that curiosity could be dangerous. When Lily was 6, Miriam had gone looking for letters from Lily's father in an old email account. Letters that explained why he'd left, why he never called. She'd found nothing, and the silence had hurt more than any truth. But this was different. This involved her child. She turned the tablet on. The screen lit up instantly. No lag, no startup logo. Too fast. A password prompt appeared. Miriam frowned. She hadn't set one. She typed Lily's birthday. Denied. Her own birthday. Denied. She tried Lily Hale. Denied. Her pulse quickened. The tablet vibrated gently, then displayed a message she hadn't expected. "Welcome back, M." Miriam's stomach dropped. "M," she whispered. "What does that mean?" Another buzz. Another screen. A clean, minimalist interface replaced the home screen. No app icons, no photos. Just folders. Dozens of them. Labeled with dates. Names. Numbers. At the top corner, a small symbol blinked, a red inside a white triangle. Recording. Miriam's phone buzzed again. The same unknown number. This time, she answered. "Mrs. Hale," a man said calmly. Too calmly. "We need to talk." "Who is this?" she demanded. "My name is Daniel Mercer. I'm a federal investigator. I'm assigned to your daughter's case." Her legs gave out. She sat hard on the edge of the bed. "Why are you calling me?" she asked. "You already took her." "Yes," he said. "But you have something we need." Miriam looked at the tablet in her hands. "You're talking about this," she said. A pause. Short. Calculated. "Yes." "Then you better start explaining," Miriam snapped. "Because I don't understand how my 14-year-old daughter became the center of a federal investigation overnight." "She didn't," Mercer replied. "Not overnight." Silence stretched between them. "How long?" Miriam asked quietly. Another pause. Longer this time. "About 2 years." The words knocked the air from her lungs. "That's impossible," she said. "She was 12. "Yes," Mercer said. "That's when we first noticed the activity." Miriam's thoughts scrambled backward. Memories rearranging themselves against her will. Lily staying up late studying. Lily insisting on handling all the home Wi-Fi issues. Lily building her own PC from spare parts salvaged online. Miriam had been proud. She'd bragged to co-workers. "My daughter's a genius." "You're wrong," Miriam said weakly. "You have the wrong person." "I wish that were true," Mercer said. "But the account signatures, the access patterns, the encryption style, it all traces back to a single source." "To Lily," Miriam whispered. "To someone using the alias Morrow." Miriam stared at the tablet screen again. "Welcome back, M. Morrow," she said aloud. "Yes," Mercer replied. "One of the most elusive digital operatives we've ever encountered. We believed Morrow was an adult, possibly a foreign actor. Until last week." "What changed?" Miriam asked. "Your birthday," Mercer said. "When Morrow made a mistake." Miriam's grip tightened around the tablet. "What kind of mistake?" Mercer exhaled. "They created a physical link." Miriam's heart pounded. "By giving me this?" "Yes." She laughed. Sharp and brittle. "So my daughter gives her mother a birthday gift, and suddenly the government notices?" "Not the gift," Mercer corrected. "The message embedded inside it." Miriam looked down at the blinking folders, dread pooling in her chest. "What message?" Mercer's voice dropped. "A confession." The room seemed to shrink around her. "No," she said. "Lily wouldn't." "She didn't confess to crimes," Mercer interrupted. "She confessed to motive." "Motive for what?" "For doing everything she's done." Miriam closed her eyes. "All she's ever wanted," Mercer continued, "is to protect you." Tears spilled down Miriam's cheeks before she could stop them. "Protect me from what?" she asked. There was a long silence on the line. Then Mercer said, "From something you don't remember, but she never forgot." The call ended. The tablet vibrated again. One folder opened on its own. Inside was a single video file, dated 11 days ago. Miriam stared at the screen, heart hammering, knowing, deep down, that pressing play would change everything she thought she knew about her daughter and herself. And as your heart races right now, ask yourself, if your child hid something this big to protect you, would you want to know the truth? Or wish you never pressed play? Miriam pressed play. For a split second, the screen stayed black. Then Lily's face appeared, closer than Miriam had ever seen it through a lens. Not posed. Not smiling. Just Lily sitting on the edge of her bed, shoulders hunched, hair pulled back messily as if she'd been running her hands through it too many times. Her eyes were red. Not from crying, from staying awake too long. "If you're watching this," Lily said softly, "then it worked." Or, it didn't. I guess that depends on how you define worked. Miriam's breath hitched. Oh, baby, she whispered, reaching toward the screen as if Lily could feel it. Lily looked off to the side for a moment, gathering herself. When she looked back, her gaze was steady, but frightened. I'm not good at saying things out loud, Lily continued. So I'm recording this. Because I need you to understand something, Mom. And if I try to explain it in person, you'd stop me. Or you'd tell me everything's fine. And it's not. The room felt colder. Miriam pulled a blanket around her shoulders, though she didn't remember standing up to get it. Lily took a breath. Do you remember the night Dad left? Miriam froze. That night lived in her memory like a blurred photograph, edges torn, colors faded. She remembered shouting. A slammed door. Lily crying in her room while Miriam sat on the kitchen floor, shaking, telling herself she'd explain it all in the morning. But Lily was only 6 then. Too young to remember the details. Or so Miriam had thought. You told me he just stopped loving us, Lily said. You said sometimes adults leave, and it's nobody's fault. Lily's mouth trembled. But that wasn't true. Miriam's heart began to pound. What are you talking about? She whispered, even though Lily couldn't hear her. I found the emails, Lily said. Miriam felt dizzy. When I was 12, Lily went on. You left your old laptop logged in. I wasn't trying to snoop. I just wanted to play that dumb puzzle game you used to let me play. But your email was open. Lily swallowed. And I saw his name. The room seemed to tilt. Miriam pressed pause. Her finger hovered over the screen. No, she said out loud. No, no, no. She hit play again. I know you didn't want me to see them, Lily said gently, as if she were the parent now. I know you thought you were protecting me. But Mom, he didn't leave because he stopped loving us. Lily leaned closer to the camera. He left because he was scared. Miriam's chest tightened painfully. The emails were about money, Lily said. About people he owed. About threats. Real ones. He said if he stayed, they'd hurt you. Or me. Tears slid down Lily's cheeks now, unchecked. He begged you to leave town. To disappear. And you said no. Miriam squeezed her eyes shut. She remembered. God help her, she remembered. The debt. The loan her husband had taken to cover a failed business deal. The men who came knocking once, polite but firm. The argument that followed. The way he'd packed a bag in the middle of the night. Hands shaking. She had told Lily he left because he didn't love them. Because the truth felt too dangerous. I watched you pretend it didn't matter, Lily said. I watched you work 2 jobs and smile anyway. And I watched you wake up screaming sometimes, even years later. Lily wiped her face angrily. And I realized something. The screen flickered slightly. Bad people don't stop being bad just because time passes, Lily said. They just wait. Miriam's stomach dropped. So I started looking, Lily continued. Just online at first. Names. Accounts. Patterns. I didn't mean to get good at it. I just did. Miriam stared at the folders on the tablet. The dates, the names. The years of quiet work hiding in plain sight. I found them, Lily said. The men who threatened Dad. They're bigger now. Smarter. And they never forgot you. Miriam's breath came in short, panicked bursts. That's not true, she said aloud. They never came back. Lily's lips curved into a sad smile. They didn't need to, she said. They've been watching. The tablet chimed softly. A new window opened beside the video. Maps, financial records, chat logs scrolling automatically. Miriam gasped. Usernames. Transactions. Conversations that made her skin crawl. They've been using shell companies to launder money, Lily explained. I traced it. Every time they moved funds, I followed. Every time they threatened someone, I copied it. Miriam's hands shook violently now. You could have gotten yourself killed, she sobbed. Oh my God, Lily. I know, Lily said. That's why I didn't tell you. She leaned back, Exhaustion etched into every line of her young face. I thought if I gathered enough evidence, I could give it to the authorities anonymously, Lily said. I thought I could end it. Make it safe. She laughed softly, a broken sound. But then they noticed me. Miriam's blood ran cold. When? She whispered. 11 days ago, Lily said. Miriam's heart slammed against her ribs. My birthday, she breathed. Lily nodded. I knew they were closing in, she said. I knew I didn't have much time. And I couldn't disappear without explaining something to you. She looked straight into the camera now, eyes fierce despite the fear. So I made the tablet, Lily said. I built it so only you could open it. I embedded everything, every file, every confession, every trail. And I gave it to you. Miriam shook her head violently, tears streaming down her face. You should have run, she cried. You should have told me. I couldn't, Lily said softly. Because if they took me, I needed you to have the truth. She inhaled shakily. And because if anything happened to me, you'd finally know it wasn't your fault. The video ended. The room was silent except for Miriam's ragged breathing. Her phone buzzed again. Daniel Mercer. She answered without thinking. You've seen it, he said. Yes, Miriam whispered. All of it. Then you understand why we had to take her, Mercer said. She's not just a witness, Mrs. Hale. She's the key. To what? Miriam demanded, her voice suddenly sharp with terror. To dismantling a network that's been untouchable for over a decade, Mercer replied. And to doing that, we need her cooperation. Miriam stood, pacing the room, clutching the tablet to her chest like a lifeline. She's a child, she said. You can't use her. Mercer was quiet for a moment. We don't want to, he said finally. But she's already involved. And the people she exposed, they won't stop. Miriam stopped pacing. What are you saying? I'm saying, Mercer said carefully, that your daughter didn't just uncover a crime. Miriam's throat went dry. She walked straight into a war. And in that moment, as Miriam stared at the tablet, at the years of sacrifice and secrecy hidden behind her daughter's quiet smile, one devastating truth settled deep in her bones. The birthday gift wasn't an apology. It was a goodbye. Unless Miriam made a choice that could cost her everything. The interrogation room smelled like antiseptic and old coffee. Miriam noticed strange details now. How the fluorescent light flickered every few seconds. How the metal table was nicked and scratched with the quiet history of other families who had sat where she was sitting, waiting for answers that never came clean. Daniel Mercer sat across from her, jacket off, sleeves rolled up. He looked less like a federal investigator now and more like a man who hadn't slept enough to remember what optimism felt like. Where is she? Miriam asked for the third time. She's safe, Mercer said. As safe as we can make her. That's not an answer. Mercer didn't argue. He slid a folder across the table instead. Inside were photographs. Men stepping out of luxury cars. Private jets. Yacht decks under cloudless skies. Faces half hidden by sunglasses and smiles that didn't reach their eyes. These are some of the people Lily's evidence implicates, Mercer said. They don't operate like street criminals. They're insulated. Lawyers. Shell companies. Political donations. Miriam flipped through the pages with numb fingers. And they threatened my husband, she said quietly. Yes. And you think they're watching me now? Mercer didn't hesitate. I know they are. Her stomach clenched. I've already requested protective custody for you, he continued. Temporary relocation. New address. New routines. Miriam snapped the folder shut. I'm not leaving without my daughter. Mercer leaned back, studying her. Your daughter anticipated that answer. Miriam looked up sharply. She insisted we tell you everything, he said. She said if we tried to keep you in the dark, you'd do something reckless. A bitter laugh escaped Miriam's throat. Smart kid. She gets that from you. The words hit harder than Mercer probably intended. Miriam stood abruptly. Take me to her. Mercer hesitated. Mrs. Hale. I'm not asking, Miriam said, her voice shaking but firm. I am her mother. And if you think locking her in a room full of adults with guns and badges makes her safer than being with me, you don't understand her at all. Mercer studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded once. All right. The holding room was smaller than Miriam expected. Lily sat at a plain table, hands folded tightly in front of her, a paper cup of water untouched beside her. She looked smaller somehow, like the walls were pressing in on her. Her head snapped up when the door opened. Mom! Miriam crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled her daughter into her arms. Lily stiffened for half a second, then collapsed against her, shaking. I'm sorry, Lily whispered. I'm so sorry. Miriam held her tighter. Don't you dare apologize for trying to protect me. Lily pulled back, eyes glossy. You watched the video? Yes. Lily's shoulders sagged with relief and fear. Then you know everything. I know enough, Miriam said, brushing hair from Lily's face. But I need to hear it from you. Lily glanced nervously at the mirrored wall. Mercer cleared his throat. I'll give you 10 minutes. When the door closed, Lily exhaled deeply. I didn't plan for it to go this far, she said. I swear. I believe you, Miriam said without hesitation. Lily blinked. You do. I believe you, Miriam repeated. But believing you doesn't mean I'm not terrified. Lily nodded slowly. They messaged me, she admitted. About a month ago. Anonymous at first. Just reminders. That they knew where you worked. What time you came home. Miriam's blood ran cold. I didn't respond, Lily said quickly. I tightened my encryption, erased traces. I thought if I stayed quiet, they'd move on. And when they didn't, I accelerated, Lily said. I copied everything. Built redundancies. Sent fragments to dead drops. That's when I decided to give you the tablet. Miriam cupped Lily's face in her hands. You shouldn't have carried this alone. Lily's voice cracked. I didn't want you to be scared all the time like you were when Dad left. Miriam closed her eyes, forehead resting against Lily's. I was scared anyway, she whispered. I just hid it better than you think. A knock sounded at the door. Mercer stepped back inside, expression grave. We have a problem. Miriam turned. What kind of problem? One of the shell companies Lily flagged moved a large sum of money an hour ago, he said. That only happens when they're cleaning up. Or preparing. Preparing for what? Lily asked. Mercer met Miriam's eyes. For leverage. The room seemed to shrink. They don't need Lily, Mercer continued. They already know she's exposed them. What they want now is you. Miriam felt Lily's fingers tighten around her sleeve. No, Lily said sharply. They won't touch her. They will if it buys them time, Mercer said. Miriam straightened. Then use me, she said. Both Mercer and Lily turned to her in shock. Mom, no. Miriam cut Lily off gently. Listen to me. They want leverage? Fine. But they don't get to decide the terms. Mercer frowned. You're suggesting. I'm suggesting, Miriam said, voice steady despite the fear clawing at her chest, that I stop running. Silence filled the room. Lily stared at her mother, eyes wide. Not with fear now, but with something else. Recognition. You'd put yourself in danger for me, Lily said quietly. Miriam smiled sadly. I already did. 14 years ago. I just didn't know it yet. Mercer exhaled slowly. If we do this, there's no turning back. Miriam nodded. Good, she said. Because neither am I. And as Lily watched her mother, really watched her for the first time, not as someone to protect, but as someone willing to fight beside her, one undeniable truth settled between them. The danger wasn't coming. It was already here. They moved Miriam that night. No sirens. No flashing lights. Just a government sedan slipping through side streets. Windows tinted. Destination unspoken. Lily rode in a separate vehicle, escorted by agents who tried, and failed, to look non-threatening. That separation hurt more than Miriam expected. It felt wrong in a way that tugged at something primal, like a rule of nature being violated. Mothers and daughters were not meant to be divided when danger closed in. They were meant to lock arms. But rules had never protected them before. The safe house sat at the edge of the city, tucked behind a line of abandoned warehouses and overgrown lots. From the outside, it looked like nothing. Peeling paint, barred windows, a place you'd never glance at twice. Inside, it was all reinforced steel, surveillance screens, and quiet urgency. "This is temporary," Mercer told her as an agent scanned Miriam's fingerprint. "Until we know what move they're making." "And Lily?" Miriam asked. "Secure location," he said. "Different team." Miriam swallowed her protest. She knew better than to argue strategy she didn't fully understand. The door locked behind her with a heavy, final sound. The room they gave her was small but clean. A bed bolted to the floor. A desk. A single chair. No windows. On the desk sat her tablet. Her birthday gift. Miriam stared at it for a long time before touching it again. When she finally did, the screen lit up instantly. This time, it didn't say welcome back. It opened a file. A new one. For MOM, if you're reading this, IT means they've started to move. Miriam's heart pounded. She opened it. Lily's writing filled the screen, not typed, but handwritten with a stylus. Familiar loops and slants, unmistakably hers. "Mom, if they separate us, it's because they think you're the weak point." Miriam felt a flicker of anger. "They don't know me at all," she thought. "They'll try to scare you. Or tempt you. Or convince you that I'm already lost." Her breath caught. "If that happens, there's something you need to know, something I didn't put in the video because I was scared it would hurt you too much." Miriam's hands trembled. Dad didn't just leave because he was afraid. The room seemed to tilt. He went back. Miriam shook her head. "No," she whispered. 3 years ago he contacted me. Not you. Me." The words burned. He said the people he owed had finally caught up with him. He said the only way out was to give them something more valuable than money. Miriam's chest tightened painfully. He gave them information. About you. Her vision blurred. Your routines. Your job. Where you lived. He said it was the only way to keep himself alive. Miriam collapsed onto the chair, a sob tearing out of her. "That's when I realized they never stopped watching you. Dad wasn't protecting us. He was trading us." The screen blurred as tears streamed down Miriam's face. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to carry that betrayal. I wanted you to believe you were abandoned, not sold." Miriam pressed her fist to her mouth, trying to breathe. "That's why I did all this, Mom. Not just because I love you, but because I couldn't let him be the reason you got hurt." A chime echoed softly through the room. Another file unlocked on its own. A photograph. A man stepping out of a car outside a downtown hotel. Older. Thinner. But unmistakable. Miriam's husband. Lily's father. Alive. Her phone rang immediately. "Mercer." She answered with shaking fingers. "You knew," she said. "Didn't you?" "Yes," Mercer admitted. "We confirmed it yesterday." "He's working with them," Miriam whispered. "He's trying to survive," Mercer said carefully. "But yes, he's cooperating." Miriam laughed. Hollow, broken. "So this was never about my daughter being a hacker prodigy." "No," Mercer said. "This was about family." Silence stretched between them. "Mrs. Hale," Mercer continued, "there's more. We believe they're planning to use you to force Lily to decrypt something she's been refusing to touch." Miriam closed her eyes. "What?" "A master ledger," Mercer said. "Names. Offshore accounts. Political connections. Enough to bring down people far more powerful than your husband ever was." "And Lily has it," Miriam said. "She built it," Mercer replied. "But she locked it behind something only you can unlock." Miriam's eyes snapped open. "Me." Mercer's voice was tight. "Biometric data. Behavioral cues. Emotional recognition patterns. She designed it so no one else could open it without your consent." Miriam stared at the tablet in disbelief. She knew this would happen, she whispered. She hoped it wouldn't, Mercer said. But she planned for it anyway. Miriam stood slowly, something inside her shifting. They think I'm leverage, she said. But I'm not. Mercer waited. I'm the key, Miriam finished. Yes, he said quietly. Miriam looked down at the tablet, at the years of love, fear, and quiet brilliance her daughter had poured into protecting her. Then she straightened her shoulders. Good, she said. Because I'm ready. And right here, before the story turns darker, ask yourself this. If the person you loved most was risking everything to protect you, would you step into danger to protect them back? Because Miriam had just made her choice. And there would be no undoing it. They didn't give her time to reconsider. By dawn, the safe house was buzzing with controlled chaos. Agents murmuring into headsets, screens lighting up with moving dots and intersecting lines. Miriam sat alone at the desk, the tablet cradled in her hands like something alive. This is the last chance, Mercer said quietly. Once we initiate contact, they'll know you're cooperating. Miriam didn't look up. They already know. Mercer nodded. Then understand this. If anything goes wrong, we extract Lily first. And me? Miriam asked. A pause. Mercer didn't answer. That was answer enough. The plan was simple in theory, dangerous in reality. They would leak word, subtly, credibly, that Miriam Hale was willing to talk, that she had access to information Lily had locked away, that she wanted her daughter safe. Desperation was believable. It didn't take long. Within 4 hours, a message arrived on the tablet. Not a pop-up. Not a notification. A sentence appeared on the screen as if typed by an invisible hand. You should have stayed quiet. Miriam's stomach nodded. Another line followed. Your husband is worried about you. Her chest tightened painfully. They're baiting you, Mercer said, watching from over her shoulder. Miriam typed back with shaking fingers. Where is he? The response was instant. Somewhere safe. Unlike your daughter. Lily's face flashed in Miriam's mind. Her nervous smile, the way she chewed her lip when thinking, the quiet courage she'd never bragged about. Miriam's fingers hovered over the screen. Then she typed. What do you want? The reply came slower this time. What your daughter stole. Mercer leaned closer. Don't agree to anything. Miriam kept typing. She doesn't have it anymore. I do. The room went silent. Agents stared. Mercer swore under his breath. Good, the message appeared. Then you'll come to US. Alone. Miriam's heart slammed against her ribs. No, Mercer said immediately. Absolutely not. Miriam looked up at him. You said if anything went wrong, you'd extract Lily. Yes. Then this is how we make sure it doesn't go wrong. She stood before anyone could stop her. They won't hurt her if I'm compliant, she said. But if I disappear or die, she becomes useless. Mercer grabbed her arm. This isn't a movie. You don't get bonus points for bravery. Miriam met his eyes, fear and resolve colliding. This is my life. The message updated again. Tomorrow. 8 p.m. The Riverside Hotel. Come alone. A final line appeared. Bring the key. Miriam swallowed hard. That night, alone in the safehouse room, Miriam lay awake staring at the ceiling. Every sound felt amplified. Every breath too loud. Her tablet buzzed softly. A new message. Not from them. From Lily. Mom. They're lying to you. Don't go. Miriam's throat closed. I can stall them. I can reroute everything. Please. Miriam typed back slowly. Carefully. You already protected me once. It's my turn. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. I'm scared, Lily wrote. Miriam's vision blurred. So am I, she replied. But we'll be brave together, even if we're apart. She powered the tablet down. At 7:58 p.m. the next evening, Miriam walked into the Riverside Hotel lobby alone. Crystal chandeliers glimmered overhead. Soft music played. People laughed, oblivious. At exactly 8 o'clock, her phone buzzed. Elevator. Top floor. The doors slid shut behind her with a whisper. The ascent felt endless. When the doors opened, the hallway was empty. Thick carpet, dim lights, too quiet. Room 1907 stood at the end. The door was ajar. Miriam stepped inside. The door closed behind her. And then she heard a voice she hadn't heard in years. Miriam. She turned slowly. Her husband stood near the window, older and grayer, but alive. Relief and rage collided in her chest. "You let them take our daughter," he said softly. "You should have stayed out of it." Miriam laughed shakily. "You sold us." His jaw tightened. "I survived." And Lily paid the price. A shadow moved behind him. Then another. Miriam realized too late. This was never a negotiation. It was a trap. And as the door locked with a heavy click, one devastating truth settled over her. This was the moment Lily had been trying to stop all along. Miriam didn't scream. That surprised her. Instead, something colder settled into her chest, an eerie calm born from the sudden understanding that fear had already done its worst. Everything else was just action. "You shouldn't be here," her husband said again, his voice thin, defensive. "You don't know who you're dealing with." Miriam took a slow step forward. "I know exactly who I'm dealing with." The men behind him shifted, 3 of them, all dressed like hotel guests, all carrying the quiet confidence of people used to controlling rooms. One of them smiled. "Mrs. Hale. Thank you for coming." "Let my daughter go," Miriam said. "Now." The man chuckled. "That depends on how cooperative you are." Miriam raised the tablet. "You want the key. You don't get it without me." Her husband's eyes flicked to the device, greed and fear warring in his expression. "You see," he said quickly. "She has it. Just give it to them and this ends." Miriam stared at him, really stared. The man she'd once loved now looked small, brittle, hollowed out by choices he could never undo. "You chose yourself," she said quietly. "Every time." He flinched. Before anyone could respond, Miriam did something none of them expected. She pressed the power button. The tablet lit up. And then the hotel room's television flickered on. So did the tablet. And the lamps. And the minibar display. Every screen in the room glowed with the same symbol. A red dot inside a white triangle. The men stiffened. "What did you do?" One of them snapped. Miriam smiled for the first time that night genuinely. "My daughter," she said, "planned for betrayal." The tablet chimed. A calm, familiar voice filled the room. "Hello. Lily." Her voice echoed from the speakers. Steady, composed, unmistakably present. "If you're hearing this, Mom, then you did exactly what I hoped you would." Miriam swallowed hard. "You're not alone," Lily continued. "And neither are they." One of the men lunged for the television. Too late. The windows darkened as external shutters snapped into place. The door locks clicked, not from the inside. Red lights flashed along the ceiling. "What is this?" her husband shouted. Lily's voice didn't waver. "This hotel floor is now isolated," she said. "Every device in this room is mirrored to federal servers. Audio, video, biometrics." Mercer's voice joined in, calm and lethal. "FBI. This room is under active surveillance." The men reached for weapons. A deafening bang shook the door as agents breached from the hallway. Shouts. Orders. Chaos. Miriam dropped to her knees, hands over her head, heart pounding, but she was smiling through tears. They dragged the men out in seconds. Her husband hesitated in the doorway, looking back at her. "You didn't have to do this," he said hoarsely. "Yes," Miriam replied. "I did." He was pulled away. The room fell silent. A moment later, Lily's voice came through one last time, softer now. "I told you I'd protect you," she said. Miriam pressed the tablet to her chest. "You did," she whispered. "Now let me protect you." The door opened again. Mercer stepped in, eyes scanning the room, then settling on Miriam. "It's over," he said. "You did it." Miriam shook her head. "We did." Mercer nodded. "Lily's safe. On her way here." The breath Miriam had been holding for years finally escaped her lungs. And for the first time since her birthday, since the knock on the door, hope wasn't dangerous anymore. It was real. The trap had snapped shut. But the story wasn't finished yet. They reunited in a hallway that smelled like gunpowder and carpet cleaner. Lily ran the moment she saw her mother. No restraint. No hesitation. Just motion and breath and the sound of shoes slapping against the floor as she crashed into Miriam's arms. Miriam held her so tightly she felt Lily's heartbeat hammering against her own ribs. Fast, alive, undeniable. "I'm here," Miriam whispered over and over. "I've got you. I've got you." Lily nodded into her shoulder, crying now, the kind of crying that only comes when terror finally releases its grip. Mercer gave them a moment. Then another. Only when Lily's breathing steadied did he step closer. "It's not just this room," he said. "Your daughter's ledger triggered something bigger." Lily pulled back slightly. "You mean the failsafes?" Mercer's eyebrows rose. "You knew." "I hoped," Lily said quietly. "I built redundancies. If anyone tried to coerce the key through Mom, the system would assume compromise and release mirrored packets." Miriam frowned. "Release them where?" Lily met her eyes. "Everywhere." Screens down the hallway lit up as agents rushed past. Phones rang. Voices overlapped. "Interpol just confirmed receipt," someone shouted. "Financial Crimes is flagging offshore accounts. Dozens of them. We've got resignations already. People are panicking." Mercer let out a breath he'd probably been holding for years. "It's cascading. Politicians. Bank executives. Shell corporations. They're all connected." Miriam looked at Lily, really looked at her. At the child who had carried the weight of a criminal empire on her narrow shoulders. "You ended it," Miriam said. Lily shook her head. "No. I exposed it. Ending it takes more than one night." Mercer nodded. "But tonight changed everything." They escorted Miriam and Lily to a secure room while the operation unfolded around them. From there, they watched news feeds flicker to life. Breaking headlines, scrolling tickers, stunned anchors struggling to keep pace with a story detonating in real time. Names Miriam recognized now, men who had once been shadows in her life, were being led into custody across continents. And then one more name appeared. Her husband's. Miriam closed her eyes, not in grief, but in release. Lily watched her carefully. "Are you okay?" Miriam considered the question. Then she nodded. "I am. I lost him a long time ago. Tonight I got you back." Lily's eyes shone. Later, as dawn crept pale and tentative across the city, Mercer returned. "There will be hearings," he said. "Media attention. Therapy. A lot of adults asking you questions they should have asked sooner." He looked at Lily. "But you're not in trouble. You're protected." Lily exhaled shakily. "What about Mom?" Mercer smiled faintly. "Your mother just helped dismantle an international crime network. She's going to be just fine." Miriam squeezed Lily's hand. Outside, sirens faded into the distance. Not approaching now, but receding. For the first time in 11 days, the world felt like it was moving forward again. Not because the danger had never existed, but because they had finally faced it together. If this feels like the moment where everything should be over, you're right to feel that. But endings aren't just about justice. They're about what comes after. 6 months later, Miriam still woke up some mornings expecting to hear a knock at the door. The fear lingered, not sharp anymore but cautious, like a scar that twinged when the weather changed. She had learned not to resent it. Fear, she realized, was just love that hadn't fully relaxed yet. Sunlight streamed through the kitchen window of their new apartment. Warm and unhurried. The place wasn't big, but it was theirs. No safe-house sterility, no guards, no locked doors. Just a lived-in quiet that felt earned. Lily sat at the table, knees tucked under her chin, laptop open but forgotten. She was watching Miriam move around the kitchen like she used to when she was younger. Coffee brewing, toast popping, the soft hum of an old song playing from Miriam's phone. "You're staring," Miriam said without turning around. Lily smiled. "Just making sure you're real." Miriam turned, eyebrow raised. "Last I checked." They shared a look, one layered with everything they'd survived and everything they no longer had to say out loud. Life hadn't gone back to what it was before. It had become something better. The trials had been public, loud, relentless. Names fell. Fortunes vanished overnight. Entire institutions collapsed under the weight of evidence Lily had hidden in plain sight for years. Her husband took a plea deal. Miriam didn't attend the sentencing. She didn't need closure from a courtroom. She already had it at home. Lily returned to school under a different last name, not out of fear, but choice. Her brilliance was finally nurtured instead of hidden, guided by mentors who understood that intelligence needed protection just as much as childhood did. She still coded, but now with boundaries, with balance, with a future that didn't require sacrifice. One afternoon, as they walked home together, Lily broke the comfortable silence. "I used to think being strong meant handling everything alone," she said. Miriam glanced at her. "And now I think it means knowing who to hold on to." Miriam reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "That's something it took me a long time to learn too." They stopped at a crosswalk. The light changed. They crossed together. On Miriam's next birthday, Lily gave her a gift again. This time, it was a book, dog-eared, well-loved, with notes scribbled in the margins. No hidden code. Miriam teased. Lily laughed. "I'm retired." Miriam opened the book and found a note tucked inside. "To my mom. You were always my safe place. I just didn't realize I could be yours too." Miriam blinked back tears and pulled Lily into a hug right there on the sidewalk, uncaring who saw. That night, as Miriam lay in bed, she thought about how close she'd come to losing everything, and how love had quietly, stubbornly refused to let go. Somewhere in the city, Lily was still awake, typing, not to fight shadows anymore, but to build something new. The tablet sat powered down in a drawer. Not as evidence, not as a weapon, but as a reminder that sometimes the greatest gifts our children give us aren't things at all. They're the truth. They're courage. They're a second chance. Before you go, what would you have done in Miriam's place? Would you have opened the tablet or left it untouched? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your answer might surprise you. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as interesting and even more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.